Are you ready for a challenge that will test your courage? Get ready to dive into 19 single-player horror games that promise to keep you on edge. These games are true masterpieces of the genre, offering a mix of suspense, fear, and storytelling that will make you rethink your idea of fun. If you think you've seen it all when it comes to horror, buckle up and join me. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to Play Hunters. I bring you daily content so you don't miss a thing in the gaming world. If you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd really appreciate it. From gamer to gamer, let's get started. If you're looking for a game that will push you to your limits, the Callisto Protocol is the perfect choice. Imagine being trapped in a claustrophobic environment where every corridor hides unimaginable dangers. It's impossible to look at this game without thinking of Dead Space, as it's clearly inspired by it. But it does have its own unique elements that make the gameplay stand out. The psychological horror combined with survival mechanics will make you question every move. The atmosphere of this game is breathtaking, with a constant sense that something is about to attack you. And if you enjoy games that make you break a sweat, this one is definitely up your alley. The gameplay does not disappoint, blending brutal combat with intense exploration. The developers didn't hold back on the scares, and every encounter with enemies is a battle for survival. The terror is not just in the enemies, but also in how the game forces you to manage resources and think strategically. If you like single-player games that challenge both your mind and reflexes, this is a must-play. And if that wasn't enough, the narrative is gripping, pulling you into a storyline that makes you eager to find out what happens next. The story takes you through twists and turns that keep you glued to the screen. With every piece of information you uncover, the tension rises, creating an experience that is both terrifying and rewarding. It's the kind of game that makes you think about the story even when you're not playing. In second place, we have The Evil Within 2, a game that takes everything good from its predecessor and cranks it up to 11. If you enjoy games where the line between reality and nightmare blurs, this one is for you. The feeling of constantly being on the edge is palpable, with shifting and distorting environments that leave you disoriented and vulnerable. The scares are frequent, but the real terror comes from the atmosphere and the constant tension. For those seeking a single-player experience that mixes horror and action, this is the game you need to play. In the gameplay, you'll feel the pressure with every step, scarce resources, and ruthless enemies. It's a game where strategy and skill go hand in hand, and every bullet counts. The freedom to explore or confront horrors head-on adds a layer of complexity that keeps you engaged throughout. And if you like games that offer different ways to tackle challenges, this one will surprise you. The narrative is a strong point, keeping you invested in the story from start to finish. The depth of the story and the quality of world building are impressive. It's the kind of game that leaves you thinking about the story for days after you finish. In third place, we have Tormented Souls. This one is for those nostalgic for classic horror games that mix scares with clever puzzles. The inspiration from the classics is clear, but with an update that makes the game shine in the modern scene. The dark and mysterious environments provide the perfect backdrop for an experience that blends fear and curiosity. If you're a fan of games that deliver psychological terror and mystery, this one will keep you hooked from start to finish. The gameplay is a return to the survival horror style, where every movement needs to be calculated. Don't expect a calm experience. The challenges here require a cool head and attention to detail. The combat is deliberate and strategic, and solving puzzles forces you to think outside the box. For those who enjoy single-player games that challenge both the mind and nerves, this is one that's worth every minute invested. The story is a highlight, with a narrative that makes you question the sanity of the characters and your own. As you explore the game's world, you'll encounter a plot full of twists and dark secrets. It's the kind of game that makes you want to uncover every hidden detail, creating an immersive and frightening experience. If you've enjoyed games that mentally challenge and scare you, this one should be on your list. If there's a game that redefines the concept of pure horror, it's Outlast, which takes fourth place on our list. From the moment you step into the scene, the tension is palpable. No weapons or combat here. Your only defense is to hide and run as if your life depends on it, and believe me, it does. The oppressive atmosphere and constant feeling of being hunted make this game a unique experience for those who enjoy scares that linger in your mind even after you turn off the console. The gameplay is straightforward and brutal. Without the safety of weapons, every encounter with enemies is a desperate race for survival. The game forces you to explore, but every dark corridor and slightly ajar door hides a danger you don't want to face. This sense of vulnerability is what makes this game one of the best examples of how horror can be effective in single-player games. It's a game that tests your nerves and makes you question if you really have the courage to keep playing. The story is another element that elevates the game to a level of respect. As you progress, you uncover the disturbing secrets behind that terrible place, which only enhances the immersion. Compared to other horror games, the narrative here isn't just a backdrop. It's the engine that drives you to explore every corner, no matter how frightening. For those who love to be fully immersed in a world of horror, this is the game you need to play. In fifth place, we have a true masterpiece of the genre, Amnesia. This is one of those games that messes with your mind more than any cheap jump scare. Here, the horror is psychological, and the darkness hides not just monsters, but also the player's deepest fears. Without weapons to defend yourself, the sense of helplessness defines the experience. The dark and oppressive atmosphere envelopes you so completely that, when fear strikes, there's not much you can do besides run and hide. It's a game that, for those who enjoy intense experiences, will be hard to put down. The gameplay is simple but extremely effective. The focus is on exploration and puzzle solving, but with a touch of tension that makes even the simplest challenges feel like a nightmare. Every noise, every shadow, everything is designed to keep you on edge. If you appreciate single-player games that manage to immerse you completely in a hostile and unknown environment, this is the game that should be on your list. The story is told in a fragmented manner, which only adds to the mystery and the need to discover more. Each piece of information you find takes you deeper into a dark and disturbing plot. For those who enjoy engaging stories that challenge logic, this is the type of game that will leave you thinking about it long after you finish. In sixth place, we have Darkwood, a game that takes the concept of psychological horror to a whole new level. Forget the safety of polished graphics and cinematic cutscenes. This game throws you into a dark, hostile, and completely unpredictable world. The horror here doesn't come just from what you see, but from what you imagine. With limited vision and procedurally generated environments, each new game is a unique and terrifying experience. For those who enjoy games that mess more with your mind than your reflexes, this is one of the best you'll find. The gameplay is a mix of survival and strategy, where every decision could be the difference between life and death. You need to explore the world around you, gathering resources and building defenses to survive the night. When the real horrors come out, the sense of isolation is intense, and the atmosphere is so thick it feels like you could cut it with a knife. If you appreciate single-player games that challenge you both intellectually and emotionally, this is the game you need on your list. The narrative isn't delivered in a traditional way, but is discovered gradually through the environment and interactions. Every element of the game contributes to building a world that is both intriguing and terrifying. Compared to other horror games, this one requires patience and a willingness to delve into the darkest details of the story. It's the kind of game that, the more you play, the deeper you delve into a nightmarish universe that won't leave you alone anytime soon. In seventh place, we have a game that took enemy intelligence way too seriously. Alien Isolation is a true test of nerves for those who like to feel at the mercy of an unrelenting threat. You're trapped in a decaying space station, with a deadly danger lurking around every corner. What makes the experience so intense is the fact that the enemy doesn't follow predictable patterns. It learns from your actions and adapts its hunting. The enemy's AI is a major highlight, making each encounter a unique and terrifying experience. If you enjoy games that push you to the limit, where every decision could be your last, this is one of the best examples of how suspense can be used to create an unforgettable gaming experience. In eighth place, we have Dead Space Remake. If you've played the original, you know this is one of those games that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Now, with the remake, this space horror experience has been taken to an even more terrifying level. The visuals have been redone from scratch, bringing an oppressive and claustrophobic atmosphere that makes each step a torment. For those who love games that combine action and horror brilliantly, this is a game you need to play. The dark environment and immersive soundtrack create a constant tension that grips you from start to finish. In the gameplay, the combat is intense and brutal, but it's the resource management that makes all the difference. You need to think strategically, decide which parts of enemies to cut off to survive, and make every bullet count. This blend of frantic action with moments of pure terror is what makes this one of the best horror games you can find. For single-player game fans, the experience of Dead Space is a masterclass in how to create suspense and fear effectively. The story, in turn, is as engaging as it is terrifying, taking you on a deep dive into cosmic horror. Each new discovery makes you question what is real and what is just a product of desperation. The narrative is rich, full of twists that keep you glued to the screen, always eager to uncover the next piece of the puzzle. If you enjoy horror games that know how to use setting and story to create an unforgettable experience, this is the game you should check out. In ninth place, we have another remake worth playing, Resident Evil 4. This remake is a true gift for longtime fans and an unmissable experience for newcomers. The game takes everything that made the original a classic and elevates it to a new level, with stunning graphics and refined gameplay. The atmosphere is filled with tension, blending moments of pure adrenaline with others of overwhelming suspense. For those who enjoy a good scare while exploring dark villages and solving puzzles, this is one of the must-play games. The gameplay is a perfect blend of action and strategy. The combat is dynamic, with enemies that require more than just shooting. You need to use the environment to your advantage, plan your moves, and conserve ammunition. Each encounter is a challenge, and the constant sense of danger is palpable. Compared to other single-player games, this one perfectly balances terror with the satisfaction of overcoming challenges, creating a captivating and unforgettable experience. The story has been enhanced, retaining the essence of the original, but with additions that further enrich the plot. You'll become deeply involved in the narrative as you uncover the secrets behind the horrors haunting that village. Like other great horror titles, the story is one of the pillars that make this game so captivating. For those who enjoy single-player games with an engaging story and electrifying gameplay, this remake is one of the best you can find. And I couldn't leave out the Resident Evil 2 remake. Unlike the 4, this game is more focused on terror, leaving the frenetic action a bit behind. It not only recreates the terrifying atmosphere of the original, but amplifies it with stunning graphics and modernized gameplay. Every dark corridor and distant sound keeps your nerves on edge, creating a constant sense of dread. For those who enjoy suspense and horror games that keep you on the edge of your seat, this is a game you need to play. The tension is continuous and immersive, turning each moment into a true test of courage. The gameplay has been brilliantly reinvented. The over-the-shoulder camera and refined controls allow for much greater immersion, while limited resources and relentless enemies ensure you're always on alert. The combat is tense, and managing ammunition and items becomes crucial for survival. If you're a fan of single-player games that challenge both skill and intellect, this remake will keep you hooked from start to finish. The story is as engaging as it is terrifying, transporting you to a ruined city where danger lurks around every corner. The narrative details have been enhanced, giving more depth to the events and characters without losing the essence of what made the original so iconic. For those who appreciate single-player games with a rich narrative and moments of pure fear, this is one of the best games you can find. In 11th place, we have Alan Wake 2. If you're a fan of suspense and mystery, this game is a true masterpiece. The sequel maintains the essence of the original, but with an even more engaging narrative and an atmosphere that blends psychological and supernatural elements. The feeling of being lost in a story that is both familiar and strange is intense, and the way the plot unfolds is absolutely captivating. For those who love games that challenge the perception of reality and offer a unique experience, this is one of the games you need to play. The gameplay combines elements of survival horror with a combat system that is both strategic and frenetic. You'll need to use the environment to your advantage and solve puzzles that are intricately tied to the plot. Each choice and action can affect how the story unfolds, creating a personalized and immersive experience. If you enjoy single-player games that offer a mix of action and mystery, this is one of the best examples of the genre. The narrative continues to explore themes of psychological horror, diving deep into a story that brilliantly mixes reality and fiction. The twists and mysteries that unfold throughout the game are as fascinating as they are frightening. For those who like games that captivate not only through gameplay but through the depth of the story, this is a must-play title. And as a bonus on our list, Dead by Daylight deserves a mention. For those who enjoy a good multiplayer game that will give you some scares and lots of laughs, this is the perfect choice. The idea of being hunted by a killer while trying to escape with other players is a formula that never goes out of style. Each match is a unique experience, with a mix of fear and strategy that keeps you glued to the screen. If you like games that blend cooperation and competition with a good dose of dread, this is one of the games you should play. The gameplay is intense, with survivors trying to repair generators and escape while the killer uses their abilities to hunt them down. The variety of characters and abilities allows for different strategies in each game, keeping the experience fresh and exciting. The tension is always high, and each match can be a true roller coaster of emotions. This multiplayer experience offers a different kind of horror that is equally fascinating. The story of each killer is intriguing and adds an extra layer to the game, but the real focus is the dynamic between hunter and hunted. The constant interaction and the fear of being caught make each game unpredictable and thrilling. If you're looking for a horror experience that is both collaborative and competitive, this is a title that will keep you entertained for hours. Returning to the realm of terror and solitude in single-player games, we have Resident Evil 7. This game brought a fresh perspective to the franchise, plunging players into a first-person horror that is both innovative and terrifying. By shifting focus to a more personal and intimate narrative, the game brilliantly recreated fear, placing you in the midst of a psychotic family in a claustrophobic and desolate environment. For those seeking a horror experience that makes you feel genuinely vulnerable, this is one of the best games you need to play. The gameplay is intense and immersive, taking full advantage of the first-person perspective to create a constant sense of desperation. Each room in the house presents a new threat, and the puzzles are as challenging as the enemies you face. The need to manage resources carefully and the feeling of always being on the brink of a new scare make this a must-play for single-player horror fans. The story is engaging and full of twists, leading you to explore the dark and disturbing secrets of the family that inhabits the house. Each new discovery increases the tension and mystery, making the gameplay experience even more addictive. For those who enjoy deep and atmospheric narratives that complement the gameplay, this is a title that will keep you hooked from start to finish. And we can't leave out Resident Evil Village. The sequel to the successful Resident Evil 7 takes the experience to new heights, blending psychological horror with intense action elements. Set in a dark village full of secrets, the game continues the story with a rich and engaging narrative that seamlessly mixes the supernatural with psychological horror. For those who enjoy games that offer a combination of mystery and adrenaline, this is one of the best you need to play. The gameplay combines frenetic combat with detailed exploration, providing a horror experience that is both challenging and thrilling. The environment is filled with diverse enemies and intriguing settings, requiring strategy and agility to survive. The constant feeling of being threatened, along with the need to solve complex puzzles, ensures that every moment of the game is packed with tension. The narrative continues to deepen the plot from the previous game, introducing new characters and mysteries that intertwine with the protagonist's past. The events are intriguing, and the secrets revealed gradually keep the suspense high until the end. For those who appreciate a good horror story with a complete gameplay experience, this title is an essential addition to your single-player game list. In 15th place, we have Alone in the Dark. This classic psychological horror makes a triumphant return, bringing new life to its iconic formula. Set in a mansion full of mysteries and horrors, the game immerses players in a dense and dark atmosphere that is a true feast for genre fans. For those looking for a game that combines an engaging narrative with gameplay that tests your nerves, this is one you should try. The gameplay is a mix of exploration and puzzle solving, with a significant emphasis on resource management and creating an atmosphere of terror. Each room in the mansion is filled with secrets and dangers, and the need to solve puzzles while avoiding constant threats adds an extra layer of tension. If you enjoy single-player games that create real and palpable fear, this title is an excellent choice. The narrative unfolds intriguingly, revealing the dark and disturbing story behind the mansion and its inhabitants. The elements of psychological horror are well explored, keeping you hooked with each revelation and scare. For those who enjoy stories that not only scare but also captivate and intrigue, this game is an experience not to be missed. In 16th place, we have Layers of Fear. This game offers a complete immersion into psychological horror, leading players to explore the disturbed mind of an artist as he seeks to finish his last masterpiece. With a narrative that is both engaging and unsettling, Layers of Fear creates an atmosphere of constant tension and disorientation. For those who enjoy games that mess with your perception of reality and offer a unique experience, this is one of the best you need to play. The gameplay focuses on exploration and puzzle solving, with a strong emphasis on building a psychological horror atmosphere. With each step, the environment changes and transforms, reflecting the protagonist's mental state and creating a constant feeling of uncertainty. For fans of single-player games seeking a deep and disturbing experience, this title offers a complete immersion into an artistic nightmare. The narrative is full of twists and secrets, gradually revealing the story behind the artist and his obsession. The way the game manipulates perception and reality is both fascinating and frightening, making each discovery both a shock and an insight. If you appreciate games that challenge the mind and offer a rich psychological horror experience, this is a game that will definitely captivate you. In 17th place, we have a game that isn't heavily focused on horror but can definitely give you some scares and is well worth the gameplay experience. In Days Gone, you enter a post-apocalyptic world devastated by a zombie epidemic where survival is a constant struggle. The storyline follows a motorcyclist in search of purpose while facing hordes of relentless creatures and other dangers. For those who enjoy a good survival story mixed with action and tension, this is one of the games you need to try. The gameplay combines action and exploration elements in an open world, offering varied missions and a combat system that allows for a strategic approach. The protagonist's bike is not just a mode of transportation, but also a crucial tool for exploring and surviving. If you're a fan of single-player games that blend adventure and intense combat with a rich narrative, this title is an excellent choice. The story unfolds with depth, revealing the protagonist's past and the hardships he faces in a chaotic world. For those who enjoy an engaging narrative and gameplay that challenges, this game offers a complete and rewarding experience. Continuing our list, we have Prey, which offers a unique blend of horror and science fiction, placing players aboard a space station full of mysteries and alien threats. The plot revolves around the fight for survival in a claustrophobic environment where every corner may hide a deadly danger. For those who appreciate an intriguing storyline and a suspenseful atmosphere, this is one of the games you need to play. The gameplay is a fascinating mix of exploration and combat, with a system that allows for creative use of skills and weapons. The space station is a playground for invention and adaptation, where solving challenges often depends on how you use your resources and abilities. For fans of single-player games seeking an intellectual and strategic challenge, this title is a must-play. The narrative is rich and complex, immersing players in a story of mystery and horror that unfolds gradually. Each discovery and twist adds depth to the plot, keeping you engaged and eager for more. If you're looking for a game that combines an immersive world with a captivating story and innovative gameplay, this is a title that will win you over. As a bonus in today's video, we have the remake of Silent Hill 2, which I'm very excited to play. But if by chance you haven't played the original, it is undoubtedly a true masterpiece of the genre, even with its dated graphics. The original game definitely deserves your gameplay, but in today's video, I decided to feature its remake, which is slated for release in 2024. The game promises to revive one of the greatest classics of the horror genre with a level of detail and atmosphere that impresses. Set in the eerie town of Silent Hill, the game immerses you in a disturbing journey that blends psychological horror with a deeply engaging narrative. For those looking for a game that not only scares but also offers an emotionally rich experience, this is one of the games you should play. The gameplay is a balance between exploration and combat, with an emphasis on creating a sense of desolation and fear. The puzzles are challenging, and the atmosphere is consistently oppressive, contributing to a psychological horror that goes beyond superficial scares. If you enjoy single-player games that combine a deep narrative with gameplay that maintains high tension, this remake is an excellent choice. The story is one of the highlights of the game, with a plot that explores complex and disturbing themes, keeping players intrigued and emotionally invested. The visual and auditory reinterpretations bring a new dimension to the classic while maintaining the essence that made it iconic. For those who appreciate a good horror story that messes with the mind and heart, this remake promises to be a title we should keep an eye on. Now tell me, which of these titles are you most excited to play? Or perhaps you know of other horror games we haven't mentioned here that deserve to be on the list? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know which games scared you and kept you glued to the screen. Don't forget to subscribe to the Play Hunters channel and activate notifications to stay updated on everything happening in the world of gaming. That way, you won't miss any new releases and will continue discovering new titles that keep you on the edge of your seat.